Hello guys, bersama saya lagi dalam ORAITNOPO channel. So, interview Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim bersama dengan Cgtn daripada China. Ya, berkaitan hubungan China Malaysia. Apakah jawapan Perdana Menteri kita? Ini dia. Jawapan padu, jawapan mantap. Jadi tanpa membuang masa, ayo kita bersama-sama untuk menonton video ini.
Bilateral relations have grown steadily in recent years. Last November, Your Excellency made your third official visit to China during our term, coinciding with the 50th anniversary of diplomatic ties. Now, with President Xi Jinping's upcoming visit to Malaysia, how would you assess its significance?
I believe President Xi Jinping's visit is not just a matter of protocol. It marks a new peak in the friendly relations between our two countries across all areas. Malaysia and ASEAN advocate for building good relations, upholding neutrality and mutual respect. There are no issues between us. And I don't want to treat other people's problems as if they were ours. We believe that our relationship with China should not only continue, but also be further elevated.
Malaysia is often seen as a middle power in global affairs. Given rising geopolitical tensions, including U.S. tariff policies and economic uncertainties, how can Malaysia maintain its strategic balance while fostering cooperation with both China and the U.S.?
Malaysia's trade and investment ties with the U.S. remain strong. Our semiconductor exports to the U.S. have reached $6 billion. But our principle is to promote free trade, and we welcome investment. However, this should not come at our expense, because Malaysia is a free, independent, and sovereign nation. Our policies will not waver. We are open. That is our stance. And ASEAN countries happen to share the same view. That is why we stand with the Chinese government for the well-being of our people and for our national economic interests, as well as for the overall development and stability of our country. We should not and do not need to be constrained by any side. So far, we refuse to succumb to such pressure. Our attitude is that we cooperate with those who treat us well. I must emphasize that although China is a major power with a strong economy and formidable military strength, we have never felt any sense of trouble or pressure from it. China has always treated us as an equal country. We engage in mutual consultation and respect each other, which means a lot to me. We engage in talks on everything. Of course, in any bilateral relationship, there will always be some points of agreement and some issues that may cause discontent, but we always resolve them through friendly consultation.
Your Excellency, reflecting on 50 years of diplomatic relations, what would you consider the most outstanding achievement in China-Malaysia cooperation?
This mode goes beyond the 50 years since our formal diplomatic ties. In fact, our friendly exchanges dated back much further, with a history of hundreds of years. As you all know, over the past 2 years, we have been working to enhance our foreign relations. First, by strengthening trade and investment cooperation among ASEAN countries. Then, with our neighboring countries, including Japan and South Korea. But our ties with China are even closer, because China has always shown stronger willingness and sincerity in cooperation. We've seen growth in bilateral investment and trade volume. There's also been increased collaboration between universities and more opportunities in technical and vocational education and training. Moreover, cultural exchanges and tourism have also seen obvious improvement. Progress in all these areas has greatly benefited us. It has improved our infrastructure and driven the development of sectors like catering and hospitality. Especially in technology and industrial sectors, we've witnessed the rise of major projects, such as the two countries' Twin Parks initiative and technological cooperation projects like the one between Geely and Proton. The size and depth of these major projects far exceed what we've seen in the past.
Global trade faces growing setbacks but also new opportunities. As ASEAN chair, how can Malaysia and the region leverage these shifts for the benefit of both Malaysians and broader ASEAN?
Tidak dapat dinafikan bahwa
There is no denying that tariffs have had a negative impact. As a trading nation, Malaysia has always believed in free trade. When the tariffs dispute happens, whatever reason might be, it's going to hurt us. We must stay rational. But at the ASEAN Trade Ministers and Finance Ministers meetings last week, we stressed that we should seek opportunities from our own strength. Instead of blaming someone else for a problem they created, we can further strengthen intra-Asian trade and investment cooperation, including cooperation with friendly countries such as China. ASEAN countries also have great growth potential. Of course, we will not suspend consultations and negotiations with the United States, and we hope that trade will be back to the right track. About our relationship with China. As neighboring countries, China and Malaysia enjoy smooth and trouble-free relations. China's economic development can bring benefits to Malaysia, so I'm taking a pragmatic position. As long as the other country treats us with kindness, we should respond with even greater kindness.
You've noted similarities between President Xi's governance approach and Malaysia's Madani vision. Has this shared perspective helped both nations navigate today's complex global challenges?
dalam pertemuan saya dengan Presiden Xi,
During my meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping, I mentioned and even asked why his thoughts are so different and unique. It is because President Xi focuses on cultural exchange, civilization, mutual learning, and shared prosperity. This kind of demeanor is not commonly seen in political figures of this era. This aligns with the vision of Malaysia Madani, which also emphasizes values, humanitarianism, and a global perspective. It presents a spirit dedicated to building civilization. President Xi's response was very interesting. He said, "Indeed, we need to develop the economy, but human development cannot be separated from history, culture, and civilization." We often discuss topics such as the economy, technology, digitalization, and artificial intelligence. Of course, these are extremely important, but we also need to have a humanistic spirit. For example, in Malaysia, we are also actively promoting the dialogue between Islam and Confucianism. This has received positive recognition from President Xi Jinping. When he talked about the Malaysia Madani concept, he specifically mentioned the common values of Islamic and Confucian civilizations. This perception impressed me deeply. Only great leaders and thinkers can have such foresight and not just see the simple material needs.
When discussing the relationship between Malaysia, ASEAN, and China, there are many dimensions to consider. One key issue is the South China Sea. Your Excellency, just now you mentioned ASEAN's position. Given the current complex international situation, how can Malaysia promote ASEAN unity and prevent the region from being caught in the middle of major power rivalries? What are the biggest challenges?
sebab itu kita katakan bahawa laluan ini harus laluan bebas.
We have always emphasized that freedom of navigation in the South China Sea must be upheld, and any disputes resolved through bilateral negotiations or the ASEAN mechanism. Is the freedom of navigation in the South China Sea facing any obstacles?
Apakah kita ada
No.
masalah hanya
Is the South China Sea issue caused by China?
Kita ini
No.
negara maritim.
As a maritime nation, our maritime border issue with Thailand remains unresolved. We are currently engaged in negotiations with Singapore, Brunei, Indonesia, and the Philippines. Why does this issue seem to become more serious only when it involves China? It's as if the South China Sea issue is only about China. I have also emphasized this many times in my conversations with European and American leaders and in interviews with foreign media. We have differences with all our neighbors regarding maritime waters, but we have never felt threatened. Although there are problems, we have always resolved them through consultation and friendly negotiations.